What I want to talk about today is called chickweed. And chickweed is actually one of the absolute superfoods that is just unbelievably full of nutrition. And we've got lots of different varieties of weed here, I guess you would say. But these ones right here with the little white blossoms, that's chickweed. This is actually a big chickweed stalk right here. This plant right here is chickweed. A very large one, actually. Now just first I'm going to show you a few ways to identify chickweed positively. So this is the chickweed blossom. It's a little delicate white flower, and it looks like it has 10 tiny little white petals. But if you were to inspect it more closely and pull that apart, you would find out that it's actually 5 white petals. It's just that they're really deeply cleft, so that they're almost like a V. Each petal is like a V. So it looks like 10, but there's actually only 5. That's a very characteristic thing about chickweed. If their blossoms are open, and you can see the flower. But there's a couple other things, and I don't know if this will come out very well or not. But on the chickweed plant, in between each node, I'll call it, in between this leaf here and this leaf here, we'll call that one section. I broke it off there, but from there down to the next leaf would be another section. And in between each section, there's one tiny little line of hairs. Only one little line of hairs. The whole stem is not hairy, but after each section, it alternates. Like it'll spin a little and the line of hairs will be there, and then spin a little and the line of hairs will be there. But that's another thing that's characteristic of chickweed. I'll show you a third thing about the chickweed plant, and this works better with the smaller ones. I tried it with a couple of large ones and it wasn't working for me. But with the smaller ones, if you take the stem, just sort of bend it in half like that and then pull apart, it actually has an inner stem that's kind of stretchy. In fact, I'm pulling it right out now. See how it pulled right out of the outer part of the stem. This inner stem is just another way to identify chickweed. Now there are some other plants who have that as well. So you can't go solely on that. You maybe can't go solely on the flowers because there are some other little white flowers. But if you learn all these identification characteristics, put them all together, especially the one line of hairs, it's on that side right now. But I mean, just look at a bunch of pictures, get out there and find some. Once you learn how to identify the leaves I think have a pretty distinctive look. It's just 2 leaves at each node, 2 leaves there. They kind of alternate as well. And then at the very top they get the blossoms and the seed heads. Down here there are some really tiny ones just starting. You can see the sort of a rosette kind of pattern the leaves have right at the end of the stem when they're starting, but as they grow it turns into just 2 leaves on each section, and then the top will turn into that seed head like that right there. They can get quite large. There's some big leaves right there. This is all chickweed, smaller chickweed down here. Again, this is some big ones. Now these are the seed heads that are opening up. Let me see if I can get some seeds out of there to show you. Those are the seeds. Kind of a reddish brown color seed. Again, this is right now standing probably a foot tall, maybe 18 inches tall. But then the really smaller ones here are sort of creeping along the ground. It's a very spindly plant, long skinny stems. Doesn't always stand upright. Sometimes it just sprawls out and lays on the ground. Here there's enough other weeds and things around it to sort of help support it. You know, that's not chickweed. That's not chickweed, although that is edible. It's cleavers. But this is chickweed right here. This is chickweed down here. This is sort of my little wild edibles bed, if you want to call it. It's kind of like a little flower bed I made on the front of our house, but I've got it full of wild goodness. One of the most prominent things I have right now is chickweed. As you can see, I've got other things. I've got dandelions in here. I've got wild lettuce. I've got wild geranium and violets. All good wild edibles that I'll do some videos on if I haven't already. But I just wanted to point out, of course, even when you have it in a controlled situation like this, there are other things that grow up, other weeds that grow up with the chickweed. This stuff here, to be honest, I'm not really sure what it is. It's got these little purple flowers on it. So I don't know if that's an edible plant or not, but when you're picking, even if you think you know what's in here, I've transplanted the chickweed in here and it's taken off, but still got other things growing up in here, this stuff as well, that really takes over our lawns in the springtime. I'm not really sure what that is either, but you got to be careful not to get that stuff with your edibles. Here's an example of a young chickweed rosette. By rosette, I mean how they're all coming out from a central point, and the strands are coming out in sort of in a circular pattern. Dandelions do this. Plantain does this. A lot of plants do this. But one thing I wanted to demonstrate, I have a young piece here. You can see how the leaves look like they have a stem. They're coming off from a stem. When they're young, they tend to do that. However, when they get older, in a case such as this, the leaves go right down to the main stem. So that part that actually looked like a small stem coming off the main stem actually opens up and turns into part of the leaf as it gets older. These are the same plant, just a little different stages in their growth. This little section of my yard between my house and the fence here is just full of chickweed. All this spindly stuff that you see sticking up here is all chickweed. Needless to say, I don't mow this section in the springtime when the chickweed is flourishing. I come out here every single day and pick it, eat it, or put it in smoothies, whatever I want to do with it. Also got a lot of clover in here. It's a good edible. Here's where my ostrich ferns are, if you've seen my video on the fiddleheads. I just thought I'd read you a little bit about the nutrition information. They're full, chickweed is full of vitamins and minerals, vitamin C, vitamin A. It's packed with B vitamins, essential fatty acids, calcium, copper, magnesium, potassium, iron, manganese, zinc. There are other nutrients in them that I didn't even write down because I didn't know what they were, but they sure sounded good. But anyway, it's known as a few things, as a blood purifier. It really cleanses the lymph system and purifies the blood. It is an anti-inflammatory. It's used to treat rheumatism. Now, the anti-inflammatory properties are one thing that I use it for a lot. I actually have a lot of issues with carpal tunnel, with severe tendinitis, with plantar fasciitis, a lot of tendon inflammation issues. And I'm telling you, I take a lot of this stuff every single day. I put it in smoothies every morning for breakfast. And if I have a smoothie later in the day, I'll do the same thing. I just put a bunch of it in there. I'll come out a couple times a day and just grab a few handfuls of it, and just chew on it raw. And put it into our salad. Sometimes we'll throw it in soups. It's just a great resource. And honestly, this time of year, the springtime, when the chickweed is thriving, is when I feel the best. I actually am really doing well with my pain issues right now, and I think I attribute part of it to taking a lot of chickweed. I do turmeric and a lot of other things as well, but I think this is something that's really helped me a lot. It can also be used to treat cuts and itches, natural itches and bee stings. You know, things like if you're out in the field and you get either stung by a bee or bit by a bug, or even stung by stinging nettles. You can make this stuff into a poultice. You can actually stick it in your mouth, chew it up until it's good and pulverized, take it out and put it on your cut or your bee sting, whatever it may be, and it helps treat that. It helps to take itch away pretty quickly, actually. So stuff can be used for a lot of things. One of my favorites is just putting it in smoothies. I have green smoothies every day, and I just love it. It's a great natural resource. What you doing, babe?
I am putting chickweed, freshly picked chickweed, right out of our garden into our smoothies. Into your smoothie. Because I'm such a faithful wife, I make you a smoothie like every day, don't I?
And I'm very thankful.
Just had to put that. So, this is actually, I call this our banana berry power smoothie. And the recipe is on our website, in the recipe section, if you want to check it out. So I have to put some berries in here. This also has some spinach and some kelp powder. For some greens, it's got some chia seeds and kefir is the base, and some banana, stevia. I think that's about it.
All right. What I'm attempting to do right now is give you a better close-up by showing this through a magnifying glass, because my GoPro doesn't have a good macro lens. I hope you can get a better shot of the flower. I hope you can see the little hairs on the right side of the stem right now. But whether this works or not, I hope I've given you enough information to pique your interest. Hopefully you'll be motivated to learn this plant. Get out and find it. It's very abundant in springtime especially. Comes back in the fall a little bit. And it's very, very healthy. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.